Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Slice of Gaming podcast, episode 59 for the week of August 10th, 2024. We got a pretty light news week, all things considered, but that doesn't mean we're not going to be here. We're going to be here every week till the end of time. Hell, we're going to be here in our 60s, so you can't get rid of us. I'm just going to say that right now. Joining me today is Dark.
Hey, how's it going?
And Bench.
Hello, happy to be back.
Bench, I cannot hear you.
Hello, happy to be back.
There we go. Wait, Dark, real quick. Do you think you'll be playing games at 70?
Yes. If I am alive at 70 years old, I will still be.
If you're alive, what's gonna happen?
I don't know. It's been a weird time in history. Stuff's always happening.
Do you think that you'll still be playing the same? Like, From Software makes a new game, you're still gonna be able to play that at 70?
Yeah.
You think you'll still have the motion?
Like,
I forget what it's called.
Okay,
Hand-eye coordination?
I ain't gonna be beating games as fast as I do now, but I'll still be beating games.
I feel like at 70 you're gonna get arthritis.
Yeah, but it'd be difficult. But it'd just take longer to be
possible. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I want to believe
easy moding games like that now.
I
really.
I can't see
50 years from now.
Yeah. I can't see a future where I just don't play games. It's just such an integral part of my life as I know it.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I'm like the same type of games as the interesting conundrum.
Okay. And there's also accessibility controllers. And I'd imagine they'd get more advanced 50 years from now. Maybe you can control stuff with your mind 50 years from now. You don't have to even worry about using your dying hands.
Yeah, look at how far gaming has come in the last 20 years. Imagine the next 50.
Do you think Miyazaki's going to be making games 50 years from now?
Will he be alive still?
He's 49 right now, so 50 years from now he'll be 99.
I think
he'll be done by then.
But I think he'll be like Miyamoto and still be involved. I don't think
at
he's
99.
The type that I think would not 99, but I think as he gets older, I don't think he is an early retirement guy.
They're coming into his house. They're like, "We need you."
Miyazaki, Miyazaki, what do you want to do for the next game? Okay, that's perfect. Record that. We'll make that the next boss voice line.
He could be the ideas man,
At 99, God bless him.
They're gonna freeze his brain. Keep making games.
It'll be like that. If you ever watch Futurama, where they put the head in the jar and they just throw him into the museum.
He can just make a black box of ideas before he's can't work.
It's insane.
I love that idea. Anyways, off that tangent, let's actually get into the podcast. If you want to see us, we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all podcast services available around the globe. Follow us on Twitter at A Slice of Gaming Podcast. But let's just jump right into the news. Like I said, it's a pretty light news week. We got some updates. We got some new tidbits here and there. The biggest update comes from the Bungie situation. We have a big update. Genki has this. Sony president, COO, and CFO Hiroki Totoki gave some details on the restructuring of Bungie. Purpose is cost restructure and portfolio optimization. Quote, we have to enhance the efficiency of the business. Bungie back office functions will be integrated into SIE. Bungie headcount and resources will be concentrated into Destiny 2 and Marathon. Other title development at Bungie will be transferred to PlayStation Studios and optimize overall studio structure. It seems like what Jeff Grubb was saying last week and kind of what Jason Schreier is saying now, it very much seems like Sony is kind of taking the full reins over at Bungie. We'll have to wait and see if that's even a good idea, but it's kind of weird to see them make a purchase of a studio and say, hey, we need your help with something. And then 2 years later, it's like, okay, I guess we'll take over then.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bad situation overall. Bungie obviously oversold themselves and Sony bought it. And game decisions were made because of things Bungie said. We know Last of Us Factions was canceled because of Bungie's interference. And I mean, we know that leaked Spider-Man game. We don't know if Bungie was involved, but it's not impossible. So, I mean...
If Bungie was involved in that, that'll be a war crime.
Also, real quick, so Jason Schreier clarified, Bungie was not the reason Last of Us was canceled.
Oh?
They just, very much, it was more of they told them from experience, hey, you're going to need to support this game for a long time. Apparently, Naughty Dog was flabbergasted by this info. They didn't know they had to support it for a while. And that's why they decided to cancel it. You know, they could have just did a side mode.
They had commitment.
Yeah, like that's like the thing. It should have been, even if it wasn't like directly in Last of Us 2, if it was a standalone thing for like $20 to $30, and they just like put it the content they put in it, and maybe once or twice every year it gets some like small update. Like I think that still would have been fine. It would have had its audience.
It could have easily just been like Ghost of Tsushima Legends, where that got updated like once or twice, and they were like, okay, that's it.
Not only that, they were like, the game was far along. You might as well just like pump it out already.
That's what I was saying. And then apparently not fraudulent ass studio. Anyways, yeah, it just seems like the whole Bungie situation. Hopefully this is the worst of it. It seems like they really are banking on Marathon, which goes into our next quote from Destiny Bulletin. New sentiment around Bungie's Marathon is not great, says Jason Schreier. Quote, people that I've talked to are a little pessimistic about it even hitting its current planned deadline in 2025. And this is the game that they really need to save them, so that's not a good thing to hear.
Besides Fusion, who is an avid Marathon defender and fan of the game he hasn't played, I just like hearing the words extraction shooter does nothing for me. Like I was never interested in Marathon in the first place, and I guess like the only thing they're trying to sell it on is it's Bungie's next game. But I mean, are any of y'all particularly like interested in Marathon at all?
This isn't my type of game, so I can't say. I don't like these type of games, so I can't really say much.
Yeah.
I really have to see more of it to make a judgment call. But as of right now, no, I'm not really interested.
Fusion really liked that trailer.
Yeah.
Put it up for
that trailer doesn't show us anything, though.
God bless Fusion. I'm going to make fun of him now that he's not here. Fuck that guy. All right, can we be real?
Yeah, I'm just very curious on if they don't even think, is it like they don't think it's going to hit 2025 or it gets delayed? Or is it we're going to push this out in 2025 no matter what?
I think they should delay it until it is ready, because you're not in a situation for a big blunder right now.
The last thing they need right now is to send out just an unfinished game. They're going to have to delay it if they need to. We'll see if they even like are able to get it by 2025. Maybe this happens a lot in development, in game development. You see where they're like, oh, we don't know if we're going to hit it. And then by the time like 2025 rolls around, they're like, oh no, actually we can make do. We can probably get it by like late 2025. I don't know what the expectations are on this game, because it seems like they're sky high. This is very much what Bungie's future is riding on. We'll see if it even works out for them.
I mean, like, Destiny fans like Destiny because it's like Destiny. I don't think they're immediately going to jump onto Marathon if they're not interested in the concept. So I think that's something they're going to have to think about.
I think the Bungie name is strong enough. I mean, people jumped on Destiny because it was the guys who made Halo. So if this is the next game by the guys who made Halo and Destiny.
I mean, beyond trying it out. Like, obviously, everyone that plays Destiny is obviously going to try out Marathon. But are they going to like Marathon? And it's something that's not Destiny, I think, is the real question.
We will see. What do you guys think like happens in the next couple of years? Is Pete Parsons taken on as CEO, or are they going to try to force him out?
I don't think he lasts the rest of the year.
I don't think so either. And I don't think he's forced out. I think he wants to leave. I mean, what does he have to gain besides
more cars?
Getting bigger.
More cars.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he's going to get a big pay whenever he leaves. But I mean, like, and I don't think Sony wants him there either, but I don't think they'd, like, force him out. I just think he leaves.
I mean, given all the negative press that's coming out about him, I would not be surprised if Sony's like, yeah, you got to go.
I mean, would Sony put someone from their side into his position? Or would someone at Destiny, I mean, at Bungie, like, move up into his position? Because is there anyone left at Bungie that's kind of, like, has the experience needed for that role? Or do they hire someone new?
They'll have someone at Bungie to, like, head the studio, but, like, it's going to much more look like a PlayStation Studios first party rather than their own thing type deal that they've been coasting along the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, unfortunate situation. Hopefully Bungie can get up on their feet. Moving into our next story, another sad story. Meta closes Ready at Dawn Studios. The studio developed Lone Echo, Order 1886, God of War Chains of Olympus, Ghost of Sparta. and my boy Daxter. So if people don't know, this was originally very much a PSP developer. When they started out, they made games for the PSP for Sony, utilizing their IPs like God of War, Daxter, and all that. Then they moved it to Order 1886, big budget. Didn't pan out the way they wanted it to. Game was way too short. Ended abruptly on a cliffhanger. Eventually, they were going to make a sequel. Never happened. Never got greenlit. Sony was not happy with it. And then they eventually got gobbled up by Meta, aka Facebook, the Zuck, if you will. And they very much started becoming a VR studio to make stuff for the MetaQuest. And now it looks like they're also going down, and it's starting to feel more and more, and I feel like this is more of a wider discussion of just the state of VR. It just feels like we're seeing more and more companies start to like meander around from it. It started to seem like a few years back with PlayStation, with Valve, with Meta, all going super heavy into it. They were like, this is the next step. This is going to be a big like portfolio extender. This is going to be like basically what handhelds were before, of like a second pillar for our business when it comes to gaming. And now very much seems like, no, it's going to stay as this niche. We're going to still get money from it. It's still going to make us money, but it's not going to make us like the big bucks. And I think a lot of developers are starting to realize that, a lot of the publishers of big companies, and they're like, okay, let's slow down a bit, make it more of a niche that we can consistently get a revenue stream from outside of like making it our main focal point of our business.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I mean, you can't really argue with that. You can hit everything on the head.
Hey, yeah, thank you. I'm really sad because I love Ready at Dawn. They were a great studio back when they made Daxter and whatnot. But yeah, just unfortunate. I always think about the alternate universe if PlayStation bought them, but then I think they probably would have gone shut down sooner, because I think they just didn't fulfill a niche that PlayStation really needed at that time. So they kind of just extended the length that they could have, but it's still an unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
Moving into our next story, we got some PlayStation financial reports. Not too much to glean from here. Pierre has this, Pierre485 on Twitter. PlayStation results: PS5 shipped 2.4 million units this quarter, down from 3.3 million last year. And this is of the quarterly report. Cumulative sales are now over 61.6 million to date, slower than PS4 by 2 million. Monthly active users are up to 116 million, plus 8 million year over year. 53.6 million games shipped, incorporates about 6 million in the first party, and digital is up to 80%. So very much, there is a lot more stuff in terms of the game and network segments. Sales are up 12% versus last year. Forecast revised up by about 3% for both sales on OP income. A lot of people were really gleaming from this that apparently PlayStation shipped just slightly above the Nintendo Switch in this quarter.
That's Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, that's Nintendo. But also the fact that's like, oh, PS5 are down this quarter from last year. I don't think this is that crazy of a news story, because let's be honest, they were going to be down because there's just not too much of the first party coming out in this year. There's not the big holiday release, and I think they're more so gearing up for the PS5 Pro. That's really all I got on that story.
I mean,
That's how it always is.
I think generally it's just like solid. I don't think it's anything crazy, but it's nothing like bad either. And I think for not having any big first party games, I think they still like kept up numbers decently.
Yeah, pretty much. This is just like hey, we're still doing our thing. We're still going about. Don't worry too much. it makes me wonder about this Pro, when we're actually going to see this thing. It's most likely September, like early September. They do some type of digital event, and then they show up at like TGS and whatnot to show off the actual console, and maybe a release for November. That's kind of like the big prediction at the moment.
I mean, Wolf, are you interested in the Pro at all?
Not at all.
Okay, I am, and I do have plans to get it.
I just can't.
How much further can you push what we already have?
The only reason I would get the Pro is if I get confirmation that GTA 6 is 60 FPS. Other than that, my PS5 is more than suitable enough for what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just like new tech is kind of the thing, mainly.
No, I get it. I mean, if you trade in your PS5, you're probably not going to pay that much more for it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's everything in regards to the PlayStation 5 financial report. Not the craziest financial report. That was where we got the Hiroki Totoki quotes about Bungie, though. So I guess that's something. Next story, one that I forgot about that Dirk yelled at me and screamed and threw a chair at me for not putting in. I'm so sorry, Dirk. New Darksiders game is in development. Sal Romano at Gamatsu has the announcement. Publisher THQ Nordic and developer Gunfire Games are working on a new game in the Darksiders series. The company's announced. Quote, be prepared to write again, reads the teaser text. Will we reveal anything else at this point in history? No. Further details were not announced. Okay, Dark, this is your thing, because I do not know anything about this franchise.
Yeah, so this franchise, this is a really niche. Well, I have a chance to say this is a hidden gem franchise from the 360 era. And it's pretty much if God of War and Zelda had a baby. And it's really fun when you get into them. But the big, this has lots of ups and downs. So 1 and 2 were really well received, and then 3 came out and it was not that well received. But that's when in gaming a lot of Souls clones came out, and a majority of those Souls clones were not good, and Darksiders 3 was one of those. And then after that we had Darksiders Genesis, which was a top-down dungeon crawler, and that was a pretty fun title as well. But the unique thing is that the way that the story is told, the first game is the last in the timeline. And all of the other games either are a prequel or take place at the same time. And Darksiders 1 leaves you at a really insane cliffhanger. And the story in this game is really solid as well. And if you talk to anyone who's played it, they'll say the same thing. So Darksiders 4, now that we've gone through a game of each of the Horsemen, the Tales of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, Darksiders 4, if this is Darksiders 4, should be a sequel to 1. That said, there's a possibility this new title is a remake. And if that happens, it's not gonna sell well.
Well, you don't want a remake of Darksiders 1?
No, it does not need one. Like they have a remaster, and I played through it recently. We get into that later, but it really doesn't. And given where the series is right now, it has to be 4 or the series is gonna play first.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're even going ahead with the 4. I don't think 3 sold too well. I might be
3 didn't sell that well, but the studio did. I think they did Remnant. And Remnant did really well, so they greenlit Genesis, and Genesis did pretty well. And there's still there's people still like the series. It just needs to stay true to the series. And 3 was a really big departure. It became a Souls-like game, and people didn't like that. So
wait, Darksiders 3 is a Souls-like?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I'll check it out.
2 words to sell Wolf on a game. Souls-like.
For real.
Hey, yeah. At least I'm consistent. Moving into our next story, we got a new trailer for The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, just called Traversing Hyrule, and this game is looking pretty hot. I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, this trailer sold me on the game. Like before, it was like, okay, I mean, it's a new Zelda game. Obviously, I'll at least pick it up. No, like this is like, okay, now I'm anticipating this game. Like the scale of the game is way bigger than I thought. Like, I don't know. I was trying to play Link's Awakening recently, the remake, and it just wasn't 100% hitting. But like this game looks amazing, and like just having Hyrule in like a 2D form for the first time in like a decade is just exciting. And it's obviously like more of like the Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom layout of the world, but like in top down and more explorable and 2D, and just everything in this trailer got me excited. Like the 5-minute trailer was pure joy of like learning more about this game.
Yeah, they showed off that new ability. I forget the name of it.
Bind.
I mean, immediately it's just like it kind of shows me it's like Zelda is basically just their test bed for new ideas at this point, and I'm very happy with that direction because Bind looks like it can get a lot of fun depending on like the different types of locales that you use and different enemies.
Yeah, I mean, like, it seems like it's gonna be like Zelda, where if you think you can do something with, like, an enemy or an item, you're to this game, and, like, you can probably do it. Like, the stuff we saw with Bind and the spider, that was crazy. Like, you could literally crawl up walls, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then the bird, like, just flying around the map with that bird, but binding onto it. That combined with the enemy summoning mechanic and, like, so many new ideas just all at once. Like, I'm very excited.
And to bring out the horse, you have to like get the carrot echo, and that's fun. So I just generally think it's going to be fun exploring Hyrule in this like art style. It looks pretty.
I'm sure the game's gonna do well because nearly most Zelda titles do well. I'm still a little bit iffy on it just because is how different it is. But I am really excited, given everything that they've shown. I'm excited to see how people speedrun this game.
Oh my god, the speedruns are gonna be insane.
It's gonna be like some of the most insane shit I've ever seen.
Dark, you could just say it to the audience. You know you're not the biggest fan of women and
no, it's not. I really wanted a Zelda title for a really long time. I actually thought that Tears of the Kingdom Zelda was gonna have a prominent role where you'd be able to play as her. That was like a long running theory before the game came out. The thing that bothers me with the game is the chibi arts. I'm not a big fan of the chibi art stuff. It doesn't do it for me. I didn't really like the Link's Awakening remake because of it. And the whole gimmick of her being able to take things and pop it back, I thought they were going to lean more into Sheik, but that's just like personal nitpick. I still think the game's going to be good and stuff.
Hey, I mean, I want to discount the Sheik rumors yet. I still think that's a possibility. But
yeah, there's still a chance, but yeah.
I think it's also cool, before we move on, like just Nintendo handing the keys of Zelda to Grezzo. I think it's just very interesting and it's very cool to see.
For sure.
I think Nintendo needs to start handing the keys to their IP to other companies.
I agree.
I mean, they straight up said they will.
Yeah, have you guys played that? I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's like the people who made like the Necromancer game.
Cadence of Hyrule.
Yeah, that game is incredible. And Minecraft is sort of doing the same thing with it, like branching out and trying different things with like an IP. Nintendo needs to be doing this, in my opinion.
I agree. I would love to see more stuff from different developers, and also just utilizing their older IPs. It's like, hey, if you're not going to do anything with it, let someone else.
The next Mario Kart needs to be Smash Kart.
No, I'm so tired of this. That just cheapens Mario Kart.
No, it doesn't.
Why? No, because it's like, why the fuck would I play fucking baby Mario anymore when I can play Little Mac? Like, it's just, I don't know, it cheapens it.
It doesn't cheapen. It's giving you more to do. You're messing with the IPs. You gotta get more people into those IPs by putting them into different games like that.
I don't think everything needs to be a crossover. I think I'm fine with Mario
I know.
Kart. Like, it makes the guest characters feel more special when they do happen, like Link in Mario Kart 8. It's like, oh shit, Link. Versus like, oh, okay, I guess Link. He's just some guy now.
I think the thing crossover characters are cool, but honestly, like the crossover tracks, I do kind of like is because you can only have so many iterations of different locations in the Mushroom Kingdom. I think it'd be different if they can bring in stuff from like the locations from the Mario RPG games, like Paper Mario, Mario and Luigi, and Mario RPG. Like bring in tracks from those series. I think if you start doing those, that's fun. But I mean, if you're like at the Mushroom Kingdom on just a different track, it's not as exciting.
Imagine they bring in Samus and they do like a Samus map. That'd be incredible.
A Samus map?
Like a space themed.
You mean a Metroid map?
Yeah.
Why did you call it a Samus map? I'm mad at you.
Of Samus.
Like, give me a road sport map.
One of the best tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in that booster course was the Yoshi's Island course. So like just more stuff from the other Mario games would be so sick and different art styles. Moving into our next story. Hey guys. Half-Life 3 confirmed? Question mark? More evidence of the fully fledged Half-Life game revealed by Valve data miner. Vicky Blake at Eurogamer has this. Following yesterday's bombshell news that Valve could be developing a new Half-Life game, which, by the way, that was a voice actor saying that they worked on a project code name that was similar to something in the Half-Life universe. Codenamed HLX, McVicker asserts the new game, quote, seems to be fully fledged non-VR Half-Life game, something that seems too good to be true. So very much someone data mined, and they found the data mined leaked name of Half-Life 3, or what could be Half-Life 3. And then also, Canubal has this on Twitter, rumor, a site called Black Mesa went online with a countdown that ends on September 30th. Half-Life, maybe. I mean, this has been the long-standing dream game for a long, long time, this idea of a Half-Life follow-up, considering that both Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 2 Episode 2 very. Not just Japanese games have confusing names, by the way, guys. I just want to point that out. But both Half-Life 2s, I can't believe I just said both Half-Life 2s end on a cliffhanger. And the idea was always Half-Life 3. It was supposed to happen. It was in development in the 2010s, and it got canceled, and it got canceled multiple times. They kept saying they were going to do Half-Life 3. Gabe Newell kept saying it's going to happen, and then eventually just went into Mythos. And Half-Life 2 came out in 2004. And I think Episode 2 was 2007. So we're about, I want to say 18 years removed. Almost 20 years from Half-Life 2, the original release. I'd be shocked if this actually is real, because I always thought it was never going to happen.
I think it'd be cool, because we all saw like the other leaked Valve game, and I think everyone did a collective eye roll at that concept. So then they have something else in the work beyond that, that'd be cool. I mean, you have to imagine, like, after they made Alex, maybe they wanted to do something else in that universe. So, because that was, 2020? So it's been 4 years. So that would make sense. That would make sense for like a cycle of a game. Like it'd get announced soon and maybe launch in the next year or two.
I'm kind of inclined to believe it, given just how this year is. We had Marvel vs. Capcom 2 come back, and that was also another title that's like, that shit would never come back.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another situation like, I kind of believe it.
I mean, like...
Isn't it like a Doom clone? Or similar to Doom?
Half-Life?
Yeah.
No, it's its own thing. It's kind of, God, how can I explain it? It's kind of like...
first-person
shooter. Have you played Prey?
I haven't.
Did you play Prey 2017?
No.
Okay. It's like the first of the immersive sim-esque. Like, it's a very influential game. It was very much a first-person shooter that kind of redefined the way first-person shooters were made at that time. The fully 3D environments, the way storytelling was, where characters would talk to you outside of cutscenes and you could like move around. That was a major deal back in the day. It was a very influential game, and then Half-Life 2 was kind of considered like the perfect sequel. And now we didn't get anything after that. But it's a very fascinating game, and
I have them on Steam, but they were free not that long ago. So
yeah, no, Half-Life 1 was free. I don't know if 2 was. Was it?
I think it was just 1. I probably got 2 from something else, but I should try them out at one point.
No, Half-Life is a very storied franchise for a lot of people, so the idea of it coming back in some way would be very exciting. It would be lame if they just didn't call this Half-Life 3. Like, I feel like at this point you kind of have to call it Half-Life 3.
It's like the Metroid Dread situation.
Yeah, if they call it like Half-Life Alex 2, it's like, okay, I guess that's something. But it seems to not be a VR game, so very much they seem adamant about that.
Yeah.
That's good at least.
Last story for us today. Yakuza Wars trademark filed by Sega. Wario 64 put it up. And it seems like this is the Yakuza game. This is not the final name. Trademarks are very much like different from what final release names are. But what do you guys think this could be? They very much said that it's like this new Yakuza game is different from what you're expecting. I heard some people say we're talking about strategy, RPG, or tactics. I don't know.
I think it's either tactics or it's like Dynasty Warriors Yakuza.
Yeah, that was the other one I was going to put up.
I am glad that it's not Yakuza 9. Because I think just pumping out a new numbered Yakuza every year would make the franchise just that much more daunting. So kind of having the next one kind of like be a break, maybe next year not get Yakuza 9 next year, and just some fun spin-off, I think is the smart move. Because I'm already like, I want to play all the Yakuza games, but it's like, if they just keep adding more, it just becomes kind of that much harder to play them all.
It also just kind of devalues the franchise if you get a mainline entry every single year. I was expecting, me and Beef were talking about this. We were thinking like it could have been the remake. It could have been a 3 remake, or they brought back that zombie survival game that was only released in Japan. That would have been a funny thing. But it seems like this is a whole new thing. I like the idea of it being a Dynasty Warriors game personally. That'd be
Dynasty Warriors would work well with it.
I'm sure whatever it'll be is going to be good.
For sure. When do you guys think this thing's coming out?
It'll probably be
early next year.
First half
probably be announced soon, and then
show. We know it's at
TGS.
Year.
Yep.
So yeah. All right.
And before it's a mobile game.
Dude, if it's a mobile game, just fuck me. You just put that into the fucking universe. Sega is the type to hype up a mobile game.
Yeah, exactly.
While we're on the topic of Yakuza, will you be watching the TV show?
After the last
I don't-
statement, now.
They said it again recently. One of the showrunners came out. They were like, "Oh, we didn't play the games." That worked out for Halo. So
Yeah, that's exactly what the Halo showrunners did.
they were like, "We want to do our own thing." It's like, don't fucking adapt Yakuza. What?
You have to honor the source material when you do stuff like this. Not take somebody else's series and make it your own thing.
I hope it's good. I don't really care enough to watch it.
Yeah, I think it's like I could see myself watching it with like friends or something. It's just because it could just stand on its own,
Under the
maybe,
radar.
but who knows?
And also, real quick, I didn't put this in the doc, but I just remembered. Sega said that one of the games they're going to show off at Gamescom is an unannounced game. What do y'all think that could be?
Do they show off the super game yet? Or are they still holding it back on that?
I don't think it is super game.
The super game doesn't exist.
What?
It's freaking placebo the entire time.
I don't. I mean, they have so much stuff cooking right now. It could be anything.
I mean, the only thing that they haven't really shown that we know of is the Evangelion game, which was leaked, and the super game.
There was God, what was it?
I have to remember if something else hasn't been shown that was leaked.
Yeah, because it can't be Yakuza because that's gonna be a TGS.
If it's actually Evangelion, it's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah,
And what
and there's also Persona 6, which is clearly gonna be shown off.
I don't know. Persona 6, they're gonna do a hype cycle.
Yeah.
They're gonna do
What are
something
your
crazy.
Yeah. What are your
But-
expectations for Gamescom?
0. Not 0. I mean, I'm interested. I'll check. There's some stuff like I think opening night live will be fine enough, but it's just hard to get excited for Gamescom. There's just
I
not
think
really-
it's gonna be the time when the news just kicks up more in general. I think
that's the exciting part is that when Gamescom happens, then we'll actually start getting news.
Yeah.
So
I do think it'll be probably better than it has been because I mean, apparently Xbox is a big presence. I mean, we know Sega's going to be there, so there are like bigger players that are going to be there. So we'll have more stuff to talk about than we did last year.
yeah, for sure.
I
We
feel
will
like
see.
if Persona 6 gets shown this year, but there's a chance it gets shown this year. It's probably gonna be at the Game Awards.
Yeah, it has to be post Metaphor.
If
Yeah,
And
they're
they're just gonna do something. They're gonna do some like IRL crazy shit, like I did with Persona 5 with like the billboards and shit.
I'm just saying, what makes you guys think Persona 6 is even real? What if they just stopped after 5?
I
We're
wouldn't-
done.
Listen, if they want to like invest into Metaphor, that sounds fun.
They don't even invest into Metaphor. They're like, we're gonna invest into mobile games.
Persona
God
6
bless
is a
you,
mobile
Sega.
game the entire time.
Dude, that would be. Could you imagine a more like internet breaking announcement if they said Persona 6 was exclusive to mobile?
And you have to buy the Persona phone to play it.
Yeah, it's an exclusive phone, like a fucking Windows phone. Like, oh god damn it, I guess I gotta play this. Anyways, that's all for our news cycle. But we got some games that we've been playing. One of my favorite games being the Borderlands movie. Let's
God.
fucking go, dude! I'm watching it this weekend. I can't fucking wait, dude.
So I watched it before the podcast, just to talk about it. So, the little preface before this movie, to me, there's a movie out there called Buried, and that movie is literally, I believe, it's Ryan Reynolds, and it's a man inside a coffin. And the movie is like an hour and a half of different angles of a man inside of a coffin. That movie is pretty fucking ass. This movie was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. I'm not even joking.
So that other movie was the previous worst.
Yeah, that was the previous worst. This movie somehow topped that, and that movie's just a man in a coffin.
I mean,
They did such a. It's disrespectful. This movie. That's what it is. It's disrespectful to the source material. If I don't know who this movie is made for, because it's not made for new fans, because new fans will be
Randy
confused.
Pitchford.
New fans will be really confused as to what's going on here. So you would assume, okay, that's for fans of the series. Then there's nothing here for fans of the series. Something really weird. Nearly all of the characters, besides like Claptrap, they're just whoever wrote them. They're completely different characters from what you know and love about the series. The series that has a lot of weapons, that's what the series is known for, like a bajillion weapons. They only use pistols in the film, and like one assault rifle once, which makes no sense. And I think for Krieg especially, I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong, they straight up use voice lines from the game as him saying it. I don't know why they did that. I don't know.
But dude, you gotta understand, dude. It's Randy Pitchford's baby.
I'm starting to believe Randy Pitchford hates the series and wants it to die. Because Borderlands 3 left a really sour taste in people's mouth. And Randy Pitchford was heading that. And now he's heading this, and yeah, it's really bad. There's no way this is getting a sequel, in my opinion.
By the way, he outright stated that, like, yeah, we're working on Borderlands 4.
Yeah.
What? Shocker. It's like the one franchise Gearbox has that makes them money.
Another thing too, when you see the costume design, it looks like they're LARPing, and it's really like the costume designs are really bad. But the one thing I will give them credit for is that when they showed the Borderlands runner, which is like the main vehicle, the runner looks really good. So I give them that.
Hey, if you're a fan
like
of the runner, there you go.
Yes, the movie's like an hour and a half long. Do not watch. Do not spend money on this movie. There are easier ways to get it.
Doug, you can't stop me. Did you watch it by yourself?
Yes, I did.
See, that's the problem. You got to watch it with
an hour and a half of my life.
You got to watch it with a group of friends.
This isn't like it's bad movie like Five Nights at Freddy's where it was so bad it was actually good. No, this is a bad film.
Oh, trust me, me and my friends we'll find a way. We're just gonna make fun of it every fucking minute. Like I cannot fucking wait for this movie. This is I know it's gonna be a travesty. It was funny because it was at 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then it raised to a 4%. Like nobody.
Let me believe. I don't think there's no movie. This movie can be that bad as a 0. No, I understand why it was at 0. Like this is bad.
Yeah, the Borderlands movie. Is it gonna be on the movie of the list here by the end of the year?
It's gonna be forgotten. We're gonna forget this movie exists.
If it was the only movie you watched this year, do you think it would be? Would you even allow it in your top 5? If it was the only movie, you'd be like, I watched it.
This is the worst movie I've ever watched. What do you?
I don't know, man. Maybe compared to like watching no movie, it's better than that.
Yeah, but isn't no movie better than a movie?
Look, I watched this movie for free and I want a refund. I don't know, like.
Would you rather have sat in a dark room by yourself for an hour and a half, or have Borderlands playing?
Yes, I would have.
How's Kevin Hart as Roland?
Okay, so surprisingly, he's not as bad as I thought he was going to be. That said, the character that they wrote is not Roland. He's not Roland. Like he's somebody else with Roland's name.
It's Jack Black, or not Jack Black. Sorry, Kevin Hart.
Yeah, and then Jamie Lee Curtis, she played her character well. But she's supposed to be playing Tannis. The character that they have her, like whoever wrote that's the issue with this movie. Whoever wrote the script fucked it up. Because the actors did a good job as whoever the fuck they're supposed to be playing.
Well,
but not the characters from the series that you know. The only 2 people that really did their role well was Jack Black as Claptrap. He just fits somehow. I was a little bit skeptical, but he did a good job. And then Moxie. Moxie was very little screen time. And she just acts like Moxie from the game. And there you go.
Well, I can't wait. I'm going to have the time of my life with that movie tomorrow. Hopefully. We'll see. I just been playing the same old. Not much to add there. Did you guys have anything else?
I mean, I beat Demon Souls.
Oh, yeah.
That
was it?
Oh, no. All right. Well, Demon Souls was it was fun. I mean, it's very clearly the first Souls game. I definitely am more negative on it than most people around. But I mean, I'm glad I finally beat it because I bought it day one with the PlayStation 5, and it's been haunting my backlog for like 3.5 years. So I'm glad I finally beat it. It's also good.
Dark, how about you?
So with the announcement of the new Darksiders, I got really hyped. And it's been a long time since I replayed through the entire series. So I started doing that recently. So I first started with Darksiders Genesis. That game really holds up pretty well for a dungeon crawler. I feel like there's not that many games like that of that caliber out at the moment. It does suck that there's only 2-player co-op. It would have been better if it's 4 somehow, but it was a solid experience overall. And then I wanted to get back into the mainline series, so I replayed through 1. And 1 holds up really well. Like, it really is a hidden gem of that era of gaming if you haven't tried it.
Well, it's like a hack and slash, right? Like a God of
It's
War
hack
clone.
and slash God of War Zelda clone. It's a really unique hybrid, but it works.
Mm-hmm.
And they even have, like, at the end of the game, you have to go find 8 pieces or something. I'm not gonna spoil it, but you have to go find 8 pieces or something. But they streamline it, so it's like the Zelda. You have to go find the Triforce and fucking shit. It takes a lot of inspirations from multiple different things. It has a lot of high name voice actors in it. I was surprised at how many high name voice actors are in it. Mark Hamill's in it. I'm like, what the fuck? But
yeah, Mark Hamill did a lot of video games at that time. He did Arkham Asylum, same era.
yeah, he did. It holds up well. The cliffhanger, Darksiders 1 has one of the best endings I've seen in a video game in a really long time. Like, that's how good that ending is. And the fact that we haven't gotten a sequel to it till this day is pretty insane.
Jeez.
I'm gonna go through 2 and 3 later on. I'm hoping, part of me hopes that Darksiders 4 will get like an official trailer at Gamescom, but I don't think it will. I feel like the game's a little bit further out.
I watched I do remember now. I did play a little bit of Darksiders 2.
Darksiders 2 is a lot of fun.
I played it and I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. And
Yeah,
then I never
Darksiders
played
1
it again.
Darksiders 1 is very linear. Very just point A to point B. Darksiders 2 becomes more open world and they put a lot more emphasis on depth. And he has a lot more of a character than War. Because War is just a hard ass the whole time.
Yeah, because it's like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and shit, which is such a
Well,
it's such a cool concept for a game.
The story in this game is genuinely amazing. They're really well thought out. The art's incredible. They just haven't done 4 yet.
Yeah, you just gotta wait, man.
well,
'Cause what
recently, Jeff, you continue.
I was just gonna say, it's like, did they do pestilence and famine? Are they
No,
characters?
so it's War, Death, Strife, and Fury.
The fuck? The other 2 are pestilence and famine.
Good. They got made their own characters, but they're really well made characters.
Oh my god! You don't get to do OCs of the 4 horsemen.
This
How are you gonna do
It
2
works.
of them and then just go for OCs? That's so bullshit. Anyways, what were you
So-
saying, Bench?
Now that Jeff Grubb recently, I think it was this week on a podcast, confirmed that he knows and confirms that there is nothing Bloodborne happening at Sony. Is it finally time to just play Bloodborne?
Yes.
No. Don't play it. I don't want you to do.
Do you think anything ever does happen with Bloodborne?
Yes,
I think
but
eventually
not in the
something
next
will-
5 years.
Something will happen. I heard this rumor, well, not rumor, but like speculation of this idea of like a PS6 launch title being the Bloodborne remake, which that just sounds more plausible than anything
Well-
else being done with the IP at this point.
I know some hardcore Souls fans weren't happy with Demon Souls, like art style direction.
Okay,
compared
no,
to the
no,
original.
no. Those people are fucking dumbasses.
Okay.
There's like 5 people who think that. No one cares.
Okay. Yeah, because that's usually one of the best looking games like ever.
Yeah, no. Bluepoint did an amazing job. It's just like the fucking weirdos who always say like, no, the remake doesn't look as good as the original. It's like, okay, guys.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Bloodborne, I don't want to think about it.
Bloodborne is really a myth at this point. I don't know what's going on. I know that Jason Schreier knows what's going on with it.
I know
Because he was following it, and then he just said that the trail went cold at one point.
the
and apparently
trail
the-
went cold.
That's what he said. That's what he said. He's like, the trail went cold at one point, and that they were planning to do a PC port, and then it just stopped.
It
So,
just sucks
I
'cause it's not. Bloodborne's not like a simple situation where it's like, oh, just emulate it. It's like they're literally trying to make it work. It doesn't work emulated.
just emulate it on the hardest console to emulate.
Like they just, it's. I mean, like Lance McDonald has a 60 FPS patch of the game, and he was able to make it works. Like it works at 60 FPS, but like you have to do so much bullshit just to be able to make it work. I don't know why Sony doesn't just press the 60 FPS button. Come on.
I think
$1,600 to play Bloodborne at 60 FPS.
I feel like there's some type of situation happening in the back, but there's no way that they didn't want to do it, and I'm pretty sure that they started the process of a PC port, which would ultimately be like a remaster if you have mods and all that. Something happened, and there's probably a massive story behind it.
I genuinely think there had to have been like a falling out because like it's weird that like Sony and From Software they renew their vows, they get back together, and they're like, we're gonna publish the Bloodborne in 2015. It's a big moment, and then Elden Ring gets debuted at the Xbox stage. And it's like, okay, I think it's clear something happened between Sony and Bloodborne because it's not Sony does not like talking about Bloodborne. If you've noticed, they
Yeah,
try
I know.
as little as possible.
There's
Because
no
I
way
think
they don't
try,
see the outcry for it either.
I think they try to avoid like speculation, so they just avoid even mentioning Bloodborne at all. It's just
Somebody needs to get it to an interview with one of the higher ups and just be like, ask them straight like, what's going on with Bloodborne? Like, you just need to like pin it on them.
one of the greatest games of all time. Just refuses to be like
Listen,
given the respect it deserves.
we're going to fly to Europe, and we are going to find Jim Ryan, and we are going to ask him, "Hey, you're like not obligated to Sony. What's going on with Bloodborne?"
Brother, he's dead.
Yo,
He's
imagine
gonna
Jim
say,
Ryan
"What's a
quit
Bloodborne?"
because he advocated for Bloodborne, and they were like, "We're gonna hunt you down now."
What if Jim Ryan was the one that was against Bloodborne? He's like, nah, I think we should do fair games instead. We could have gotten
Okay,
Bloodborne
okay.
too, but he's like, let's do fair games.
Yo, wait till the story comes out that it was between a Bloodborne remake or Bungie, and they picked Bungie.
Oh my god, I would never forget. I already hate Bungie, and now you're gonna do that. Oof.
Like you reminded me about fair games, and like Concord's like solid, and if that just has no chance, it's like, what does fair games have?
Fair games has Jade Raymond, a person who has not made a game in 10 years. God bless. Can't wait. Fair Games is gonna, dude. I watched that trailer again. Holy shit, that is one of the worst video game trailers of all time. It's
Listen.
so fucking garbage.
We're gonna find out more at the showcase next month.
I've been thinking about that. I don't think there's a showcase next month. I'm
I
focusing on
think
PS5 Pro. Why
I
would
think
they
it's at the
do?
showcase.
I mean, they could, but like that would distract from the PS5 Pro. They're gonna want to market PS5 Pro first, and then maybe do a showcase next spring.
Let me have hope. Okay, and also like I guess talk about Astrobot. Do you think because Astrobot obviously has like the controllers in the game? Do you think if you play Astrobot with the Astro controller, something happens?
No, I think you just play Astrobot with
I think
an
it's just a
Astro
controller.
controller. It's literally just a controller, and I can't.
You don't
fucking
think
wait.
if you're like flying on the controller to the Astro version of the controller?
No.
I mean, maybe they'll do
Maybe.
something like that, but I kind of doubt it. Listen, I don't want to think about Astro. I want to just try to avoid thinking about that game so I don't start getting insanely hyped. It's 1 month away. I already can't wait.
That's the closest you're gonna get to a Bloodborne coming back, because they're gonna have the hunter inside Astrobot.
I can't fucking wait, dude. Oh, dude, that game is everything I want it to be. Anyways, that's it for the podcast. We went a little off the rails there, but that's what we usually do around here. If you liked us, check us out on all the podcast platforms, on Twitter as well. If you guys enjoyed the podcast, like us, press that like button. Press that subscribe button too. It helps us out a lot. Anyways, I think that's about it for tonight. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Good one.